Hello, everybody. My name is Dr.WAEl Saied. I'm a bronze member in 3D Clinic project and an endodontist practicing and living in Cairo, Egypt. I want to thank ETs for giving me this opportunity to be with you today. I hope you're all safe. Today, I will talk about some tips and tricks to help you in your journey to Apex. Let's start with preoperative radiograph. Preoperative radiograph, my recommendation is to take three preoperative X-rays, one straight and two with mesial and distal shifts. It will give you a very invaluable information about about the root canal, about the shape of the roots, the shape of the canal, the relation between canals, and it helps you to form a 3D image of the tooth. Of course, if you don't have this ability to take three preoperative radiograph, and if you just took one radiograph, take it with with either shift, mesial or distal. But as we see here in this upper first molar, this is a straight view in the middle, and this is a shift, a mesial shift and a distal shift. As you see, it will give me an information about the size of the cavity, the extent of the caries, the form of the roots, really good information. So I recommend to take three preoperative radiographs. Second, one trick that really benefits me along my clinical work is to stare at the radiograph for not less than 1 minute. You will as the time goes, you will discover a lot of things. So just concentrate on your radiograph for 1 minute, even if it's very simple. Don't take a quick look. My trick is to count 1 minute and stare to your radiograph for 1 minute. That's really helpful. Planning for your shaping. Preoperative radiograph will help you plan your shaping strategies. I will give you 3 examples here. This lower 7 is I think it was a failed pulp capping. The mesial root have a curve, and the distal root have also a curve. But the angle of the curvature in the mesial root, it starts at the coronal direction, and the angle of the curvature of the distal root is more apically. When you study your preoperative radiograph, you will put a plan how you're gonna manage these curved canals. According to the location of the curvature, will have its management. You have to decrease the stress on file coronal to the angle of the curvature. What I did here at the mesial root, I do a coronal. I use an orifice opener to do a coronal flaring here. As we see, the curvature, the angle of the curvature is in the coronal 1/3. So I use orifice opener. It was about I like to use big orifice openers like 30 or 25 taper 8. Using a big orifice opener will help you a lot in locating the canals, in decreasing the stress on the file at the coronal part, and it help you with your axis. You can test if the file will have a friction with your axis wall. Then you need refinement. If the orifice opener have no friction with your axis wall, with your axis cavity wall, then no file will have friction because it's really have a big taper. So I like to use my orifice opener. Orifice opener is to be with a big taper. So I straighten out this part above the curvature with the orifice opener. Then start my glide path to full working length and shaping. But in the distal root, as you see, the curvature, the angle of the curvature is about 3 millimeters from apex. So the working length of the distal root was 20 millimeters. what I do is I do two shaping cycles. One 3 millimeter then working length, and another one to full working length. What I do is I do a coronal flare, then shaping with 20, 25, and 30 04 to 17 millimeter, just to the angle of the curvature. Then another cycle with 20, 25, and 30 to full working length. The first cycle, its function to decrease the stress on the file coronal to the curvature, and the other cycle is to shape the canal apical to curvature. As you can see, the curvature here, in the mesial root, the part coronal to curvature is straight, and the part coronal to curvature in the distal root was also straight, and so I decrease the stress on the file coronal to the curvature, the angle of the curvature, as in the distal root. So the whole stress will be apical in one point, apical to the angle of the curvature. That's how preoperative radiograph can influence your shaping strategies. Another case here is lower premolar. As you see, the preoperative radiographs say that this is not one canal, maybe two or three. After scouting, I scout one canal, one mesial canal, and another distal canal. But the mesial canal, I can get the file to the full working length with my apex locator. But in the distal canal, I always hit a wall. It's not a ledge, because it's the first file I used to scout the canal, so I don't think it was a ledge. The two canals are joined, where the distal canal join the mesial. The distal canals join as a very right angle, as almost right angle. So when I insert the file hit the wall at the joining part, hit the wall of the other canal. As I advance the file here in the mesial canal, the file bend and hit the wall of the mesial canal. So in order to make this file go to full working length, you have to double bend it, and it's not going to happen. It will end with perforation or a separated instrument. So my shaping strategy here was to shape the mesial canal to full working length, and to shape the distal canal just to the joining point. So also how the radiograph will affect your shaping technique in this case. Another case here it was a failed post and core, the post and core and the crown fall from this lateral incisor. What I see here is a straight canal that needs retreatment. So why using a flexible file? As you know, there is two phases of heat treatment: a phase called martensitic and phase called austenitic. The martensitic phase of heat treatment of nickel titanium will make file more flexible, but of less cutting efficiency. The austenitic heat treatment will make the file less flexible, but with very good cutting efficiency. Martensitic file is usually most of the file we use are martensitic heat treated, martensitic phase of heat treatment. When you can tell the difference when you bend the file in martensitic treatment, the file stays and keep the shape of the bend. But in the austenitic file, when you bend the file, it comes back straight. It tends to straighten itself again. I use in this case, I usually use martensitic, as most of the files in the market are martensitic. But I used here an austenitic file because I don't need the flexibility. I just need a good cutting efficiency. So in no time, I was able to remove all the getaperca, get my shaping, and get my operation and post and core in no time. So I choose austenitic file because it will be more efficient in this straight retreatment case. That's how when you read the X-ray good, you can also change your file and to get the job done in a fast and more efficient way. Let's talk about some tips in access cavity. Look, when you see, when you do any step of engineering treatment like access, shaping, cleaning, irrigation, obturation, you have to think it, you have to think about it in the way of means and goals. Don't mix the two terms, because that's what usually happens. The means, the means is how you do things to achieve goals. Like in the access cavity, a hole in the middle of the tooth is not an access cavity. You have to ask yourself, does this hole help me to achieve my goals? My access cavity, I finished when I said I finished my access cavity. I will go for shaping when I achieve the goals of access cavity. Let's review some of these goals. One, access cavity must help me to find all the canals. Two, access cavity must contain irrigant. So you always have to have a class 1 access cavity. 3, to facilitate instrumentation or to have a free passage for instrumentation. So if your access cavity don't achieve any or one of these goals, so you don't finish your access cavity. Let's review this in this video. So let's say in this access cavity of I think premolar, how we can make a hole in the tooth that looks like an access cavity but doesn't achieve any goals of the access cavity. Let's expose the upper premolar. So in doing your access cavity, some like to start with the point of caries entry or from the exposure side. Other like me, I like to draw my access cavity first and then remove caries. I imagine the tooth is intact and draw my access cavity. Then I remove the caries after I do a proper access cavity. It's either it's just a personal preference. Look, now I get to the canals, exposed canal now. Now what we have here in this axis, we have access cavity not sealed to contain irrigant. Look, I will show you how you're gonna find the canals, but you will not achieve the goals of the access cavity. First, you don't have a sealed access cavity to contain irrigant. That's first. That's first error in this access cavity design. First, the roof is covering canal orifices. You need more space to deroof the canal orifices. To look for extra canals, to clean isthmus, you need room. So this access cavity will not help you in managing or searching for canals. The last goal is facilitate insertion. Look how the orifice opener, which I said a very big file, the biggest file in your kit usually, it has a friction between the file and the cavity wall. I test my access cavity for instrument for shaping. As I said, I use a very large orifice opener. So if the orifice opener go free without friction with access cavity wall, so any file can go without friction, without putting stresses on the file before it's entered the canal. It will increase risk for many errors. There is a friction between the file and the access cavity wall. So what I use in the main two instruments I use in access cavity are the round stone and the endozebra. I just need to those two pairs to do a good access cavity. I love stone. I don't like carbide pairs. Look, when we refine the axial cavity, that's after I clean my isthmus. Now we're going to see that we have all the goals of the axial cavity achieved. We have an sealed axial cavity turned to +1 in building up the axial cavity. I usually use gingival barrier. I'm kind of lazy to do it with composite, but I do composite build up when the margin is too deep or the stability is somehow questionable. I like to to be sure that this tooth will be restorable, because a lot of cases the big challenge in the restoration of this tooth is not the endo, it's the build up of the missing walls or acquiring the margin. That's in really in great number of cases, that's the real challenge, and the real hard thing to do is to restore the crown, not do the endo. So when also that's when I saw the when I study my preoperative X-ray, I decide if I'm gonna go for build up, if for a composite build up, to be sure that this tooth is restorable, or I will just build up with gingival barrier, and then I will restore the whole tooth in my final restoration after obturation. Because usually about 70% to 80% of my cases are single visits, so this tooth will be restored in a single visit. I build up the missing wall with gingival barrier. It's more easy and take less time. So this one cavity sealed was plus and become +1. Then, as you can see, a stress-free path for files, for shaping, stress-free. There is no friction with walls. Also, a clear view of the canal orifices that facilitate, as I said, isthmus cleaning and searching for extra canals. So we have to be this mindset of means versus goals, of what we need from axial cavity, what goals we need to achieve from our axial cavity, not just a hole in a tooth. Okay. Another trip. Finding MB2. After axial cavity, we usually search for extra canals. The most famous one and the most popular one to find is the mesiobuccal, the second mesiobuccal canal in upper molar. I will share you some of my protocol to find it. Let's see, I have, I think, 4 cases here. Look, the first thing you have, the first thing you need to have to find MB2 is to have also the mindset that it's there. It's there. You're not that lucky. So every upper molar you do, don't have MB2. No, they always there, and its percentage is very different between race, between populations, countries, and also its percentages it varies between many researchers on the same race or population. But you have to assume that it's there until proven otherwise. That's the first one. Second one, you have there is a geometrical relation between the canal orifices that will help you to locate a mesiobuccal canal, as we're gonna see, and you have to follow the dentine map. The dentine map or a pulpal floor map can be a very easy way to guide your way to find the MB2. There's a rule, I think all of you have to know it, that you don't touch the pulpal floor with rotary instrumentation. I mean rotary burrs. You don't touch pulpal floor with rotary. You use ultrasonic on pulpal floor. You never use, because I don't know why some use stones like round stones, stones with round end, to search for MB2, you will lose sight with the big head of the contra angle, and the rotary instrumentation is very aggressive on the pulpal floor. You would have more risk or more likely to do for perforation. So only use ultrasonic on the pulpal floor. In the way we will see, my way, I will describe it now. Let's see the first case. I think this is also a failed bulb capping. Now we have an exposure. We do deroofing to expose the pulp, wash our pulp. Now, as you see now, first thing is canal geometry. Lot of movements. Sorry. Now this palatal, distal, this is dentine map. Dentine map is dark lines in the pulpal floor that connect canal orifices. That's what dentine map is. Dark line in the pulpal floor that connect canal orifices. As you can see in here, this map I draw it in my mind. I see it in my mind, so I can see the relation between the canal orifices. This is the palatal, this distal, and this is the MB1. This line indicates the location of the MB2 here. Let's see also the canal geometry. As you can see in this case and the other cases later on, there is a cross shape geometrical relation between the canal orifices of the upper molars. When you draw a line between the palatal canal and the canal orifice and the MB1, this line will form a cross, a perfectly shaped cross in most of the cases, with the line connecting distal and the MB2. Again, the line. If you draw a line from the palatal canal to the mesiobuccal, the first mesiobuccal canal, it will form a cross, a perfectly shaped cross, with the line connecting distal canal and the MB2. Let's see. Sorry. This is the geometry, as we said. Now let's start with ultrasonic. Ultrasonic you have to do three things: brushing motion, low power, minimum apical pressure. When you use ultrasonic to search for MB2, three criteria: brushing motion, low power, and minimum apical pressure. Take your time. Pulp floor is very delicate, very thin in some areas, so you don't have to use high power or apically, or to push apically very hard. Just brushing motion, minimum apical pressure, and low power settings. Of course, as you see here, the advantage of ultrasonic over using burrs or stones is the contra angle head will block your vision. On the contrary of the ultrasonic, you have a clear vision. Also, it's really hard to control your pressure using rotary. We use it, of course, without water, so still we can see what we are doing. And if the debris is accumulating very fast, you can wash and dry and irrigate and dry and start looking again. As you see here, just what the geometry and dentine map do is to give you a small area for search, not to search the whole thing, just an expected area or the most likely area that MB2 will be here. Usually the orifice of mesiobuccal is at lower level of the mesiobuccal 2, it's at lower level than MB1. Now there's a lot of ways to catch it, as you will see in this video. I catch it with the file here, with 10K file. When you can first examine the catch with a DG60 probe, then you can insert the file. Look at the geometry here. Look at the dentine map. Exactly as we expected. Look, the dentine map is very, very obvious here. After you wash with the sodium hypochlorite a lot and remove most of pulp tissue, the pulp map will be, the dentine map will be more obvious here. Let's see the second case. Here, a trick in this second case, what you see here, you can determine where is the mesial and where the mesial and distal of the tooth with the bow of the clamp of the rubber dam. This is the mesial and this is the distal. As we can see here, this is a distal caries. And this is a type of axis called a caries-driven axis. Usually, the upper molars, the caries is more mesially located. But if the axis, the axis or the pulpal axis, the axis to pulp will be more mesially located. But when you have a distal axis, we in this case, I usually go. I don't use my usual way of drawing the axis as the tooth were intact, but I go from the exposure side, from the distal, to trying to preserve more as much as possible from the mesial intact part of the tooth, as we can see here. When I go here, I will go from the exposure side. Look, I opened from the exposure. Look how much dentine is saved at the mesial. I still didn't see the mesial canal. I used this is the distal, this is palatal, and this I still not exposing the mesial. Here I expose the mesial canal. As we see the distal caries, I preserve all the mesial dentine here. Now this is our geometry, the cross shape, and the dentine map. As we clean more the pulp geometry, the dentine map will be more obvious. That's the DG60. Start to feeling the catch. As we said, I can stress that enough. Brushing motion, low power, minimum apical pressure. Okay, brushing motion. In the look, as I said before, just at the side that we expect to find the MB2. Here, lot of debris. Here, how we catch, how I told you that how we catch the MB2. Here, I try to catch it with the orifice opener. Look how the dentine map here. Look at the dentine map. Look how the dentine map is very obvious that there is a canal here. Look at it, still there is some dentine on the orifice. I can't find a way. The advantage of using orifice opener is very big file, very strong, have a safe end. So you can see how it bends without penetrating the pulpal floor. If there is no canal, it will it's very safe to use it. That's another way to use it. Sorry. So I didn't find the orifice. As you see, it's still some dentine needs to be removed to expose the orifice. As I said, it's usually at lower level than the MB1. You see how clear the dentine map here. Now here I catch it with a file. I catch it with a file. I will also we're gonna review the geometry and the dentine map in after shaping. Look how close the MB1 and the MB2. It's not usually the scenario, but it's mostly the scenario that the MB2 and the MB1 orifices is very close to each other, but we're going to see a case that they are far from each other. Now we can review, look at the geometry and the dentine map. Let's see another case. Let's see another failed bulb capping. I have very bad luck with bulb capping. We do the axis. We review the geometry. The geometry here. This is the distal, palatal, mesial. I think the MB2 will be here. Look how far from the MB1. It's usually near, but look how far as we draw the cross shape. Let me use this pointer. As we draw the cross shape here. Now I feel a catch with the DG60 Pro, trying to negotiate the catch. In very, it's funny because in some cases I find MB2 first, not the MB1. Look here, the orifice is exposed. I cut through the orifice with the orifice opener. Here, what I use the ultrasonic for is to clean the isthmus, because the two orifices are apart from each other, so there's an isthmus between them. There are two canals, two orifices in the same root. You have to clean the isthmus between them. Like the mesial root of the lower molars, I always clean the isthmus, not just to remove the pulp tissue and necrotic tissue in this area, but also to search for middle mesials. As you're going to see now, after shaping, look how far the two orifices from each other. This is the geometry. Look how this is the really good geometry, and this is the dentine map. Now let's review our last case. Fourth case. This is a mesial caries, so we'll go as planned. Draw my axis cavity, finding the mesial, finding the distal, find the palatal. Then we're gonna use the dentine map. It should be here, and the geometry between canals. Geometry. Skip geometry. Geometry. So according to geometry, it should be here. Let's use our ultrasonic and search. Now look, I start from the orifice of the MB1, going palatally. Here, start to finish, find the catch, nothing. I didn't find anything here. More troughing. Let's do more troughing. More troughing with ultrasonic. There's a lot of data. I also wash and then reevaluate. There is no catch, nothing here. I think this case don't have an MB2. It could have MB2, but I don't know. You don't know. Sorry. You don't know for sure unless you have CBCT. Look, after I wash my debris, after washing debris with activation and sodium, I start looking for a catch, but nothing. Do I sure that this tooth have no MB2? No, not 100%, but I did my best. As you see, I really destroy some dentine here. So I do my best. There is no MB2 here. You can be sure unless you have CBCT. But you try your best. Look how this dentine map should be here. That no map. Geometry should be here. No MB2. But of course, if you have CBCT, forget about all I said now. You're lucky. You will find it. Or you will be sure it's there or not. Okay, let's move to our next trick for working length determination. Of course, everyone nowadays, I don't know a dentist that don't have an apex locator. Okay, so we'll do about some tips of how you properly use your apex locator. Let's start. First tip to use apex locator properly. First, you have to have isolation. And when I said isolation, I mean rubber dam. No controls, nothing means isolation. Nothing means isolation. Only rubber dam. Rubber dam means isolation. So you have to have a good isolation, which is mean using rubber dam. Second, you need to empty the pulp chamber. To empty the pulp chamber from the corrective tissue, to empty the canal as much as possible from necrotic and living tissue using irrigation. You can use broaches. I usually use orifice opener that will remove the pulp tissue and some of the pulp tissue in the pulp chamber and some in the canal. So you have to remove as much as possible from pulp and necrotic tissue in the pulp chamber and the canals. Third, you have to irrigate the pulp chamber, dry the pulp chamber, but not drying the canal. So your pulp chamber need to be dry, but the canal needs to be wet, or somehow wet, not completely desiccated, just wet, but not your pulp chamber. You have to have the dry pulp chamber and wet canals. Okay. You can use ADT lubricating gel, not liquid. ADT gel to help you it will not affect the reading. If you put some EDTA on the file in narrow canal or calcified canal, it help you to reach your length. So you can use EDTA gel or cream, not liquid. So you have to have a dry pulp chamber, but not a dry canal, and you can use some EDTA on the file in narrow canals or calcified canals. That will help you. Fourth, you have to use 10K file or the file that you feel resistant during insertion, because the file have to touch as much as possible from the canal walls, so you will have good readings. Don't use a 10K file in a very wide palatal canal. You will have a jumping reading. We will discuss about the causes of jumping, but one of these causes is using a small size file in a very wide canal. You have to use, usually it's 10K file, but if you don't feel resistant or feel the file is loose in the canal, you have to use a bigger file. One of the confirmation ways is to use different files and you compare results, compare lengths. Use 10, then 15, then 20 in the same canal and compare the results, and that's how you can sure that your file touches as much as possible from the canal wall and your readings are right. Okay, as you use the file and advance the file into the canal, you will find that there is usually at the apex you will find bars and numbers. The number will be decreasing and the bars increase until you reach a point of 0.0. This is the point you have to stop and take your working length. Okay, so when you advance your file, you have to feel resistant, a little bit resistant. That means that the file touches more, as much as possible of the canal walls, and you have to have constant, stable readings with the number decreased and the bars increased. Okay, until you reach 0.0 point. Okay. Now, when you reach this, when you approach apex, and the number decreases and the bars increase in reaches the point of 0.0, you will find that there is numbers. You will find 3.0 and then 2.0, 1.0 and then 0.0, and then will turn red to minus 1.0. When you reach some clinicians, when they reach 3.0, they think that there is 3 millimeter until apex. This number doesn't mean millimeters. Okay, when you insert the orifice, the file into the orifice of the canal, you will find 70 or 23 or whatever. This doesn't mean millimeters. When you reach when you're reaching apex and you will find 3.0, 2.0. If you stop at 2.0, that doesn't mean that you stop 2 millimeter shorter than working length or shorter than the apex. That these numbers doesn't mean millimeters. Okay, so when you're reaching the 0.0 point, this should be your stopping point, and you advance your rubber stopper until the reference point, pull out your file, and see your length. This will be your working length. Then some clinical tips at while you use your apex locator. When you one of the important tips, when you reach the 0.0 point, push your file again 1 millimeter down until you reach the minus 1 point, and the peeping goes crazy on most of the apex locators. This move will benefit you a lot. Number one, it will confirm your apex, because if you reach the apex at 0.0, and when you advance the file to and the reading turns to -1, and you again pull it back to 0.0, you're sure that this is the point you want to reach. The going and that means the apex locator is reading right. When you're reaching the apex and go beyond the apex, it gives you beyond the apex, and then you go back to apex, gives you that you are in the apex. That's how you confirm that the apex is reading right. Okay. Second, another thing you will benefit from this move, that you may need intentionally to violate your apex in case of just to ensure patency, or in various cases of having a big abscess, or as a way of draining your abscess. You need to violate your apex, so you're gonna know that you already have violation, or you already ensure the patency of the canal in either way. Then that's benefit why you have to go beyond 1 millimeter beyond the 0.0 point. Another thing that's very tricky thing, and happens a lot with me, that sometimes there's a drop of water. The canal is empty. You empty the canal from water, and just a small drop of water in the apex. When the file reach this drop is connecting the surface. When the file touches the drop, it will gives you 0.0, but you're not at the apex, because it's conducting the circuit is closed with this drop of water. In some cases, another thing that is very interesting and happened with me in many cases, that there is a drop of fluids in the end of the canal. Just the canal is all the canal is empty from, or having drops of water not connected with each other, and there is a drop at the apex. When the file touches the beginning of this drop, it will give you it will close the circuit, and it will give you 0.0. How you if you touch this drop of water or drop of irrigant that filled 2 or 3 millimeter of the canal, when you touch the first part of this air of this water bubble, of this drop of water, it will give you as you are in apex. You will sure that you will know that when you advance the file more, and it still give you 0.0. You will advance the file another half a millimeter, you will still have 0.0. That's because this drop of irrigant will close the circuit, and it will give you a false reading of apex. So you need to advance the file until you already outside the apex, give you -1, and then go back to 0, 0. This is your true apex. I hope you understand that. If you want to repeat this again, I will not, because you can rewind the video and listen to it again. Okay, just a drop of water at the end of the canal. When the file touches it, it gives you, it could be 2 millimeter beyond apex, 2 millimeter above the apex. When the file touches this drop of water or irrigant, it will close the circuit and gives you 0.0. How you know it? When you advance the file more, you will still have 0.0 as you are in the apex. So you have to be sure to go outside the apex and then go back. When it gives you 0.0, then this is your true apex. Okay. Then, as I said, when you reach this point beyond the apex and then go back, you adjust your rubber stopper at your reference point, pull the file back out of the canal, and measure your working length. Okay. Let's see that in action. That's what was one of my first cases with the Apex long time ago. I think 2 years. I think 2 years or more ago. Look how I used the file. Value and the bar increased. Let me hear the beeps. Look at this. This 3, as I said, doesn't mean that you are 3 millimeter shorter than your working length or shorter than the apex. No, just a number. Doesn't mean millimeters. Okay. Now, as I said, this is one of my first videos in using apex 0 point, and then take my X-ray. But you should go beyond apex and then come back to 0, 0 point. As I said, adjust your rubber stopper as your reference point. Then took your X-ray. Now, there's a question. Do I need to take a working length X-ray if I have good, if I have an apex locator? Yes, you have. You should do this. To be honest, I trust my apex locator, especially I have a lot of experience with it. If the readings go steady, I have steady bar going down, the number value is decreasing in a steady fashion. There's no jumping. Usually I'm too lazy to go for working length, especially if there is a limited mouth opening, or the rubber dam is blocking the way. It will take a lot of effort, but don't listen to me. Take a working length X-ray, because it's not just to confirm your working length, but also to give you a lot about canal relation, about the canal's relation with each other, the canal curvature, as we said in this. It will give you really good information. Don't be lazy, please. Yeah. So let's see another. How to test your apex locator. Look, I do this testing at the beginning of my my working day. First, you have to be sure that the battery is full. The best thing, the best condition that your apex locator will work is when the battery is full. If it's charging, you have to charge it, or you have to change the battery if you don't have charging. Now I test the lip clip, that it's not have rusting. The circuit is going is good. There's no from sterilization. Many sterilization cycle could do some rust in the metal of the lip clip that may be interfere with conduction. So you have to test the circuit. You will always have to the apex will have to give you beyond the apex at its maximum. Okay, every time. That's how you sure that the circuit is closed and all the connection is working. Let's see how we test the lip clip here with the file clip. Now this is a trick. When you use the file clip, this part here, with serialization, it tears up inside. You don't see it inside the wires inside. It could be teared up and gives you jumping, and it drives me crazy. Once in some cases there is jumping, and doing everything right. So you have to check this part, move it around, and you must have a steady reading as you see. Okay, then you have test all together. I do this test, the altogether test before every case, in every case when before I go for working using Apex. Okay, sorry. Let's do some shaping tricks. Also, as we said in Axis, shaping is a matter of means and goals. Reaching the apex is a mean, but it has to achieve some goals. So, not reaching the apex is not your goals. I will show you that there's a lot of cases, a lot of scenarios that you reach apex, but you don't achieve one of or any of shaping goals. Let's see. The shaping goals are maintaining the original shape of the canal, decrease number of bacteria, preparing a way of irrigation to do disinfection, maintain patent canal. Now let's review some of this scenario. Maintaining the original shape of the canal. If you use a stiff file in a curved canal, you may skip with all errors we can do, but all the errors that could be happened, but you will change the shape of the canal. You will straighten out the curved canal using a stiff file that will tend to straight itself, will widen the canal and you will lose the canal shape. You will reach apex, as I said, but you will lose the canal shape, the original canal shape, and you will over instrument this canal, and you could have the risk of strip perforation if you use a stiff file in a curved canal. As I said, you can reach apex, but you didn't achieve the goal of maintaining the original shape of the canal. In decreased number of bacteria, I can let's say that you extract a tooth with your forceps. Could you put this forceps with blood and tissues in the autoclave and start your autoclave, your sterilization cycle? No, you have to wash it before, wash it and pack it before start your sterilization cycle. Why I wash it? Why? Because washing and disinfection to the instrument before sterilization will decrease the number of bacteria and make it weak. That will enhance and make your sterilization more efficient. So decreasing number of bacteria here in shaping means cutting. Cutting means the bacteria is in the intestinal tubules and on the wall of the canal. When you shape, you cut the dentine that carries bacteria, so you decrease the number of bacteria. So when you go for shaping in a wide canal with you have a 3-file system, you go for all the 3 files, reaching apex, but you don't cut anything. So you don't do shaping. You don't achieve the one of the shaping goals, which is decreasing number of bacteria. You don't achieve this goal, but you're still reaching apex, as most of the clinicians delusional that reaching apex is his goal. No, you can reach apex, but you don't cut indentin, you didn't decrease the number of bacteria. Also, preparing a way for irrigation to do disinfection. As I said, you have to have a coronal phrase, so the irrigant you can see the orifice more clearly, and the irrigation can enter the canal easily. You have to prepare to a minimum size, because I think there's a concept came out. I don't remember. Yes, last year or the year before, of minimal preparation, or I think taperless preparation, that you prepare to 20 taper 2. I think there's no such a thing, because you have to have a way and space for your irrigation and for your irrigation activation, for your irrigation to reach the whole root canal system, and a space for activation. So you have to prepare a way for irrigation and to do proper disinfection. That's a part of shaping goals. Then maintaining patent canal. Maintaining patent canal is one of my main goals. One of my main goals during shaping is to maintain a patent canal. What means of patent canal? Empty canal. Canal that doesn't have any debris. Canal which is empty and patent. If you have an empty canal, the easiest thing is to disinfect it. I didn't say you don't have bacteria, you don't have, you still didn't do your final irrigation protocol, because the final irrigation protocol is a separate step from shaping. But removing all the debris from the canal will have a great impact on your disinfection procedure in the final irrigation protocol. Because if you have a room full of furniture and you want to clean the floor, what's easier and more efficient to empty the room from all the furniture and clean the floor, or cleaning the floor while the furniture is in the room? So patent canal, you should concentrate on having a patent canal after shaping. Let's see some shaping protocols. So let's discuss some shaping protocols here. There's a different ways of doing your shaping. We'll start with the classic cliff raddle. You start shaping and you start advancing your rotary instrument into the canal. You will have one of two events, either engagement or resistance. What engagement? Engage means that the amount of power you push the file into the canal will cut the dentine easily and reaching your working length. The resistance means that the file will stop at the amount you apply pressure, and you need more pressure. There will be resistance. You need more pressure to advance the file. So let's ask a question. What is the reasonable pressure I apply on the file to push it inside the canal? In my opinion, I will stick to Dr.WAEl said that it's a pencil grip pressure. A pencil grip pressure means it's the pressure that you use to using with a pen without breaking the tip. The pressure when you use to write with a pen without breaking the tip. That's the pencil grip pressure. So engagement means that your file cut and advance in the canal with this pressure. You don't need more pressure and the cutting is going on well. But the resistance means the file stops and it needs more pressure to advance more in the canal. So the engagement and resistance. What you will have, these are the two events you will have during shaping or during the file advancement into the canal. So if you have engagement and you reach your working length, or you have resistance and you need to apply more pressure on the file, you have to stop in both situations. When you reach working length or when you encounter resistance, you have to stop, remove the file, and do irrigation, recapitulation, patency, and re-irrigate again. Okay, like in both cases, when you have engagement and reaching the working length without any problem, or when you have resistance. In case of engagement, you will do the irrigation, recapitulation, and re-irrigate again before you change or you move to the next file. Or in the case of resistance, you will do irrigation, recapitulation, and re-irrigate again and advance and use the same file to reach your working length. Okay, what happened during resistance is the accumulation of debris. The accumulation of debris that prevents the file from more advanced in the canal. Let's see how Dr. WAEl do it. He has now engagement. He reaches his working length. Look how much debris on the fluid of the file. He re-irrigates and then recapitulate. What is recapitulation? Recapitulation is long strokes to full working length. With 10K file, long strokes to full working length. Then he do patency. What is patency? It's 1 millimeter, half to 1 millimeter short strokes beyond working length. Okay, so recapitulation is long strokes along the working length. Patency is short strokes 1/2 to 1 millimeter beyond the working length. Okay, that's how the shape. And then you move to the other file or to the same file in case of resistance. Okay, let's see another way of shaping here. This is using editor to remove the debris. In this method, he applies an EDTA in the pulp chamber, apply EDTA on the file, then do shaping. After shaping, after amount, if he encounter resistance, he remove the file, wipe out the EDTA which had adhered to it the debris, and then apply a new layer of clean EDTA and go again into the canal. That's his mechanism. It's a sticky mechanism. The debris stick to the EDTA, then to the gel. Then he removes when he encounters resistance, remove the file, clean the file from the debris that adheres to the EDTA gel or cream, and then apply new layer of fresh cream, and then go again. It's like he using the EDTA as a sticky material that debris will adhere to it, and that's how he removed the debris from the canal and obtained the patency from its canal, from this canal, as you can see here. A lot of EDTA. Look at how he has resistance reciprocation here in its reverse. And then if he reach working length, he advanced the file again into the canal and until he had resistance and so on. When he finished, he irrigates. As you can see, with sometimes edited, it's contain a little bit of hydrogen peroxide that make an effervescent action when you irrigate with sodium hypochlorite. This effervescence will help in also removing the debris. That's another way. As you can see, when even with the classic method, like the classic method of Dr. WAEl, what recapitulation do is suspend accumulating debris in irrigant. What happens is when you irrigate, you fill the canal with irrigant, but the debris still accumulate at the apical third of the canal. When you do recapitulation will move the debris suspended in the irrigant. So when you re-irrigate again, the suspended debris will wash out with the irrigant. So it's still also a mechanism for removing debris. As you can see, as you can see in these two methods and the method later on, the main purpose of the of the mechanism of irrigation or mechanism of shaping is removal of debris, patent canal. That's a very important goal to put in mind. So as we can see, Dr. WAEl used a file to suspend the debris in the canal and then removing with irrigant. This method uses EDTA, debris stick to it, and then renew the cream again to stick more debris out. Another method here with my beloved Dr. Alan Ali Nasih. I heard him. It was a great lecture. He used an SS motion, single stroke and cleaning. Single stroke cleaning. The main mechanism of this method is the debris accumulate on the flutes of the file. So what he's doing, he's going for engagement, not resistant. What's mean is he go with the file to 3 millimeter, engage, cut dentine, and willingly remove the file. He do engagement, not resistant. Willingly remove the file, so he never reaches resistant. He just engage a little bit of dentine, accumulate the debris on the flutes of the file, and then swipe the file with the SS swipe he made. Let's see, he put some dentine and swipe. Some dentine. It's like shoveling. It's like when you shovel, dig a hole. You take some dirt and move it out from the land, and you make a hole. The hole get deeper and deeper. So that's that actually he did. Very brilliant. Just a stroke, single stroke, and cleaning. Then this is also what this method used. It's 4-stroke and cleaning. Use twisted file. It's 25 taper 8. So this great taper produced a lot of debris. So basically he fill the bulb chamber and the canal with irrigant, 4-stroke, and then he do 4-stroke, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then remove and use irrigation and suction tip. This is, I think, Endovac. Look how much debris this file, and then remove the debris with suction. Use a tip to suck out the debris. Then another 4-stroke and accumulate debris. Then irrigate and use a suction tip to remove debris. So that's 4-stroke and cleaning. Also a mechanism for removing debris. Now this is my way of removing debris called continuous irrigation during instrumentation. Okay, that's using a device I developed called SafeClean. What's basically this method is, I use a part of the system called master head. This master head. Let's see. Sorry. This part is a needle, this metal needle. Let me do laser. This metal needle will push the irrigant from a syringe to one side of the cavity, one wall of the cavity. When the irrigant come with force, it vortex around, it circle around the axis, making a hydrodynamic force. Making like a vortex. This vortex has a hydrodynamic force. When I do shaping, it's automatically cleaned the flutes from debris. This debris and the irrigant will go to the cap around the needle, which has suction. I will explain the mechanism, the technique, and the device later in other webinars. But this is the basic mechanism. The basic mechanism of automatic cleaning of the file. We can see here. Look how the metal tip pushes the irrigant, and the plastic cap connected to the high volume suction that will remove the irrigant, the debris, and refreshing the irrigant instantly in the canal. Look, when I use it alone without like ordinary technique, when you use it without refreshment, the debris accumulate. We can see this in another video more clearly. Here, continuous irrigation during instrumentation. You can see it more clearly here. That's my device, safe clean. Look, when the ordinary way or the classic way, you fill the canal, the pulp chamber with irrigant and the canal with irrigant, and you do your shaping. Look how debris accumulate very frequently, and it's still in the pulp chamber. Nothing removed. You bring the debris from the canal and then into the pulp chamber and taking in the debris again while you're shaping. That's what the classic way is. When the debris is accumulated too much and you feel resistant, you remove the file, re-irrigate, recapitulate, and re-irrigate, and then go again. This cycle will put more pressure on the file, will time consuming because you're gonna need to re-irrigate and recapitulate, especially when you use greater taper or narrow canals. But continuous irrigation during instrumentation also the matter of using a fresh irrigant. The irrigant is refreshing instantly into the canal and the pulp chamber. Let's see how the difference when I use the master head. It's all wash out. You have a clear view of the file. At the end, when you have less recapitulation, or if you use taper 4, I really need recapitulation from orifice to apex in one shot. You will have less stress on file, and you will have at the end of the shaping, you will have a clean cavity and a clean canal, clean file. Even the file goes out clean. We'll talk about this technique in details later. So let's see, reaching working length in retreatment. One of the difficulties in retreatment that you can't really measure the working length with your apex locator, because the 10K file can really go inside the cataperca. You have to remove the cataperca first. That is may bring some dilemma, because I will do average length. What if I do over instrumentation, or I do under and still can't use my 10K file and my apex locator to reach the length? So in this video, I will I use the combined function of the eConnect Pro and Apex to remove cataperca in the same time to the apex without any over instrumentation done, or under instrumentation, or I leave some cataperca into the canal. Let's see how. The combined function of this video was done way before the eConnect S has been released. In eConnect S, you can find the combined function without all this connection between the eConnect Pro and the Apex. Because eConnect has an integrated Apex locator. You connect your Apex with the Apex locator. This connection. It's very easy. Then you put your file or retreatment file. I really don't use any retreatment file. I use normal file to remove cataperca. You test it by touching the file. You will find it's the apex locator respond. Okay, that now you are ready to use it. Again, it's normal to hook up the lip clip in the patient cheek. I will remove this. I want to remove all the cataperca and establish a working length. So I establish my axis, remove the coronal cataperca with gets glidden, and then I advance my file. As I advance my file more, the apex start to respond. Now, when I reach working length, I remove the file. Then I recheck with the 10K file. that's how I easily can put the 10K file to the full working length without do more pressure on the K file with the risk of separation during presence of Gutenberg. Now I made a path for 10K file using the combine function to the full working length of the canal. Now I can establish my working length. I adjust my rubber stopper to the reference point. And then I confirm with the X-ray. That's a really useful function in case of retreatment, in case of calcified canals when you're not sure when you reach the working length. It's very good function. As I said, you can find this function without any connection in eConnect-S. Also another good function in this in eConnect-S, it's automatic torque adaptive torque control. Adaptive torque control means rather than doing auto reverse when you're reaching maximum torque, that's the torque you set up in the device. When you're reaching maximum torque, the file goes to auto reverse. In adaptive torque control, when the file go to auto reverse while you're pushing, you still have high risk of file separation, because when you push the file in instrumentation mode, up and down movement or brushing, when you reach maximum torque, you can still be pushing the file. So auto reverse will you have some risk of file separation during pressure on the file while it's in an auto reverse. But in adaptive torque control, the file goes in reciprocation motion that will reduce the risk of file separation even if you push it in the adaptive torque control mode. Let's see it. You can see how the reciprocation will start when I reach maximum torque. Very cool function, and it's very useful in case when you need to push your file further, like in retreatment or in calcified canals. That will decrease the risk of file separation. Let's talk about rotation activation for GP removal. Look, rotation activation means you use file for activation in rotation motion. A file for activation. It's like AF Max from Fanta, XP Finisher from FQJ, brush file, or a gentle file Tornado, the Endo brush from Densify Toolsident. These all files means it was meant to activate the irrigant, but also you can use it in GP removal, in Gearback removal, even after. Let's see this case, so I can clarify my point of view. Sorry, my classic music. In this retreatment case, it was an upper lateral with let's see the upper lateral with a poor root canal treatment with an abscess. Doing my access cavity. Okay, remove coronal. I like to use gets cleaning and just removing the coronal gataberca. Here I use solvent. I put some eucalyptus oil in the bottom chamber using shaping file. I don't use retreatment file. I don't need it. I use shaping file to remove. Look how then with the combined function of eConnect and ePEX also. In this case, the combined function, you hook up the lip clip into the patient cheek. Then you use the combined function of eConnect and ePEX as we saw in the last case. I reached working length here. I reach working length. Once the apex will give me working length, it's a 0.0. I move to file to make sure, taking my X-ray, my working length X-ray. It's perfect. I reuse with the last shaping file 20. That was 20 before. Look how much pus come from the canal. The pus is oozing from the canal. It was so thick that I can't remove it with the tip. It was so thick. So I do irrigation. Pus. This is negative pressure irrigation with safe clean. We'll talk about later, as I said. Now I complete shaping to 3504. Look, the green rubber stopper. This shaping to full working length with 3504 file, but still here what I like to use AF Max or XP finisher in or rotation activation in general in retreatment, because the canal is oval. Your file will clean in a round motion, in a round area, the round area of the canal, but the oval part at the of the canal, this difference between oval and round shape, there would be two sides that the file will not touch. That's how that's when F Max and the XP finisher, the rotation activation, comes very handy to remove Gutenberg and sealer